Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome one and all to the ultimate Cleveland sports show, along with G. Bush, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a lot to get to on this Thursday afternoon, guys. Lots of Browns talk. The Guardians are one win away from clinching a playoff spot with an exciting win yesterday. That and plenty more coming up. We've got Anthony and Mike behind the glass. Steve remains on his cruise up to who knows what.
Shenanigans.
He's in Aruba.
I tell you what,
Aruba,
if Steve
Jamaica.
come back here and he don't have a tan,
Yeah.
I'm questioning him.
You question that he went on the cruise?
Yeah.
And he's actually up to some secret activity?
Yeah.
Hey, man,
What if he was a secret CIA agent?
I mean, it would be a good cover, right? You wouldn't, if anybody here,
He
you
would
would
never
not
guess
expect
it.
to be a CIA agent. It would be Steve.
Like Steve, man, like he comes back from the trip, it'd be like 3 weeks, man. He'd be going like a month, man. And he come back and he don't have no stories.
That's the part that gets
true.
me.
We never
He
get,
knows
like,
stories.
You know
The
what?
rest of us go away, we got stories.
I can come back, we come in early, we
Yeah.
tell all our stories right
Yeah.
before we get here.
That's true.
And then it's just like, what? Like, what'd you do, Steve? What are you talking about? Like,
Speaking of stories, so yesterday, Bull, listen to this. So listen
What
to
happened?
this. Yesterday, I had the Big Ten is making me and Mike wear a suit this week. So
That's inappropriate.
I hated it too,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. So I put on all my old suits and none of them fit anymore.
Oh, boy.
So I had to go to
Yeah.
Nordstrom's and I had to go get me a new suit.
Couldn't get it fixed.
No,
Doesn't
it's
work. Okay.
I'm too like
You're too bulky.
yeah. It's not like in the gut. It's like literally
Okay.
in my chest and
All
arms.
right, all right.
So, hey, working out. Anyways, so I'm in there
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get fitted because I got this suit jacket, but the sleeves was too long, so I was getting it tailored.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from nobody other than Garrett Bush.
Wow.
G Bush.
What an honor.
Me and G it had to be like 45-minute conversation over coverage. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's trying to scheme up a way that the Browns should play defense. And I'm telling him about if he's drawing up plays. He said, if this happens, who got this, blah, blah, blah. 45 minutes it went on. And
That's
it was
the dedication guys have. That's
I told
impressive.
him we need to get a whiteboard because this is ridiculous.
like it was wild because I was watching something. I was watching like air raid offenses and the evolution of defenses and how at one point in time, like people used to go four wide receivers and everybody used to freak out, just lose their mind. Oh my gosh, there's 4 receivers out here. And then slowly over time, defenses started to catch on to that and they started to play a different way. So I was like, as a defensive lineman, by trade, I'm not a secondary guy, right? So I could tell you, what the linebackers do, but when you get in the secondary, they be in their own world. Like people don't know, they split that up. It's like the front 7 and then them. They all out there in left field doing what they need to do. But for me, I was like, man, I was trying to come up with this defense, and I didn't know whether or not I wanted to play cover 3 in the back end or I wanted to play cover 4 match. And so I wanted to play cover 4 match in my head to a certain, like a formation, like 3 receivers, 3-by-1 formations to the wide side of the field with a tight end, right? I didn't know it was called a nub.
Yeah,
but that's what they call
tight
it.
end.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out what my backside safety was supposed to be doing.
Which is fun. This is what he's asking me as my college scheme.
Right.
Cover 4 pattern match was what I ran at Ohio State. When I got to the league, it was all cover 3, cover 1.
So I knew he knew what it was. I said, all right, I'm trying to figure out, is it
So
cover
you're trying
3?
to figure out if cover 4 would work?
I'm trying to figure out if you know how I be doing dumb stuff. Like I be coming up with mixtape and albums and stuff.
Okay.
In my mind, I was like, if I'm a defensive coordinator, what would my base be and what my checks be? And I was like, okay, if I want to come out in base and I'm playing cover 4 in my base, I feel like I could do that because in my mind, the backside safety is just roaming free on a lot of plays. Like, he just gets to double team people. But I didn't know if that was actually accurate or not based on certain routes. So I had to ask Tyvis.
So is it accurate?
If it's a 3x1, yes. He reads number 3 to the 3 side, and if 3 is vertical, he would take him man. But if he doesn't go vertical, he can choose to go to the post, or he can choose to double the backside receiver. Because if you listen to this conversation, it was very LeBron and JJ Redick-esque. Like, it was like mind the game, what we were talking about.
I was like, Tyvis, number 3 never goes vertical hardly. Like, that's a slump.
The thing about number 3 is you'll know if number 3 is going vertical, because 90% of the time, number 3 would be on the ball and 1 and 2 would be off. So if you see 3 on the ball, that's a high alert that he's probably going deep over. So that would say, all right, I got him vertical.
Right.
It was a good conversation. It was fun.
About 45 minutes.
Not play cover 4 in the NFL?
The last team I know that did it was Buffalo. Buffalo ran pattern match cover 4 for a long time.
Why do teams not do that?
I don't know if they do or don't anymore. I just know Buffalo, and when I was in Houston, when Romeo Crennel was the D coordinator, so that was 2019, they was running that. So I'm sure teams do run it.
All right, you're just saying,
I haven't studied other teams' defenses right now to know.
All right, well, we got a lot to get to with the Browns. There's a number of guys in the injury report, including Myles Garrett, that we got to talk about. Is there any chance the Browns would take the Giants lightly? Which seems crazy to me. I don't know. Leroy Hoard's going to be on with us. We'll talk with Paul Schwartz, who covers the Giants. He'll be on with us later. First, let's go say hello to Mike. What's up, Mike?
We're also going to talk a little Guardians, and we're reacting to some fan hot takes today. I put out on Tuesday
that's right.
to give us your hottest take, your boldest prediction for this game. We got a bunch of answers. I whittled it down to my favorite 8, and we're going to react to some of your guys' hot takes. But let's jump right into topics today. After a quick word from FanDuel, you guys have heard us talk about FanDuel a lot. It is America's #1 sportsbook, and right now they have a little something different for everybody out there. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon at a market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook.
So, guys, Myles Garrett was added to the team's injury report yesterday. Did not participate with a foot injury. Browns also added fellow defensive end Darius Smith to the injury report as a non-participant with a back injury. Jedrick Wills upgraded to limited. He did although he didn't it says here he didn't participate. I thought he did participate.
Every report I read said he went through drills. I saw videos of him in drills yesterday. So
right. Yeah. Well, maybe he wasn't a full participant. I think tight end David Njoku remains out. Joel Bitonio elbow, offensive tackle Jack Conklin knee, long snapper Charlie Hewlett, defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, and defensive end Alex Wright remain limited. Center Nick Harris, receiver Jerry Jeudy, linebacker JOK, cornerback Denzel Ward are full practice. How concerned, and what is the biggest concern on the injury report right now for you guys? Are we concerned at all that Myles Garrett's not going to play?
No, because I listened to Myles after the game, and he talked about, he said that the pain comes and goes. He said sometimes it's really bad, sometimes he gets away with it. He said it's one of those things that he's just going to like downplay it and continue to play no matter how painful it is. But he said he does feel it over the course of the game.
Is it the toe or the foot?
I don't know. I think he said foot.
Like, because
I hope it ain't turf toe, but if it was turf toe, it's gonna sideline you for a good 5 weeks.
You're out of here. Like, you can't do nothing with people. Like, oh, you got turf toe? No,
they gonna tape your big toe down to the bottom of your foot. They gonna put that little string around, tape it to the bottom of your foot, and put a metal plate in your shoe. Man. And hope that helps you. It ain't. It doesn't.
I remember before he was doing the Pro Bowl stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he dislocated his big toe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now,
what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, when I heard that, I said,
that's exactly what I thought too.
I was like, I hope that does not like linger on. Like, after a while, arthritis gets in there, sets in. Yeah. Ironically, I dislocated and broke my big toe too.
Recently?
No. When I was younger, I was running to a swimming pool. You guys have heard that story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They had to put a metal rod in it. It almost came off. So the Big Toe Chronicles is a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
So are you
hopefully-
concerned about his injury?
I'm concerned about it long term. Like half of his game is to get off. It's to look at that.
That's
Look
a
at that.
fact.
Wow. Look at that. Like he's out here running basketball moves on these dudes, and the fact that he is that big and able to bend that much, you got to realize the amount of torque and the amount of force and energy is being displaced into his ankles and his joints and his lower half. When you're that athletic, the thing that you worry about is not with the hamstrings or different things. You worry about the joints holding up, all that pressure with his lower body, and that's the biggest and best part of his game. So, I'm concerned about that. Like McNugget said, that's the first thing I thought about when he started being on the injury report with those foot injuries. Is that because if he can't push off, if he can't get out of the blocks, that's a rough one, man.
I mean, I agree that Myles is concerning, but the biggest concerning is still Denzel. I mean, Myles, 80% Myles is better than probably like 20 top 20 DNs in the league.
Right, but it's still
concerning.
We've seen it before where he's not 100%. He doesn't have the impact
but he's still gonna. Are you okay? So you telling me if you are a OC, you gonna say we're gonna single block Myles?
No, certainly not. But
all right, so
when he's been hurt in the past, it has affected his effectiveness.
Right.
Yeah, it has.
I've never heard somebody put it in those type of terms, but it does sound right. But anyways, I think that he's still gonna eat up a double team. So at the end of the day, people still got to win their one-on-one block, whether he's healthy or not. They still gonna get their one-on-one shots. The Denzel thing, you saw it. You see when he ain't out there. You see what goes on.
Right.
So that is concerning. With that little snap count stuff, I
didn't get it. I didn't know he was hurt.
I didn't either. They said
didn't tell anybody.
They said it popped up on the injury report like the last day, and nobody thought anything of it.
And Denzel Ward, he's all over these receivers. Them little moves they be making, he be all over that. I know. He don't even be concerned with cornerbacks, man. See, I've been watching these corners lately because we got 3 good ones, man. Man, them corners that don't go for none of your underneath stuff, they got great recovery speed. They feel like, we not worried about that. Listen, you're not getting over top of me, and I could just mirror you. And if you got one of the dudes like that, you got a huge advantage. Look at the first couple of plays against the Jaguars, right? Like they made Gabe Davis out there look like he was a tight end.
Yeah, he did.
He was out there looking like a tight end. I'm like, bro, where's your get up?
They tried to hit the double move and everything.
Nothing.
And
He hit him. He stopped. He was just looking at him like this, shaking his head. No, so if you got him out there, it's a great opportunity for you to put the Giants under the bed in a heartbeat.
They have Malik Nabers, who had a huge game in week 2.
Mm-hmm. He's nice.
Who they play last week?
Washington.
Oh, they ain't got no
They don't
secondary.
got very good
They ain't
defense.
they ain't got no secondary.
He's a really talented young
He's
receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
he's inexperienced, obviously. This will only be his 3rd NFL game. But he's off to a great start and played very well against Washington. As you said, they don't have the corners, but he's a guy you'd want Denzel Ward to be able to deal with as much as possible.
I mean, he's a guy that they have nobody else on offense besides him. Their offense runs through him. So he is the key. If you stop him,
the rest of their receivers are all journeyman guys. Same with their tight end. Their running backs, Singletary.
Yeah.
Nothing special there. I mean, the Giants are not they're a very limited offensive team, to be nice about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, too, because Brian Daboll, first year there with Danny Dimes. I know y'all don't like to call him that, but Danny Dimes.
And
he made him look like a decent NFL quarterback.
Yeah, one good
year. I think
year.
he cut down the turnovers and he had 15 touchdowns to 6 picks.
He was
or something
running like
that.
crazy that year.
And I don't know what's happened since then. He got, you know what? He got paid. That's what happened.
In the words of the
he
great,
got paid.
In the words of the great Sean King, he wasn't no good in high school. He was not good in college.
He was never good.
And he was never good in the league.
Robbed him blind.
Man,
Good one season.
it was nice.
That's all
He
you.
wasn't even good that season. Put 15 touchdowns.
15
15.
touchdowns.
He
like
was
6
decent
picks.
that season. Is that fair?
He was okay that season.
He was solid that season. He was league average.
He
that
wasn't
season.
the reason they lost, but they had no ceiling because
No,
he was
that's true.
mediocre.
Now, in fairness, he's had no wide receiving talent around him before Nabers.
Like,
But getting back to the injuries, obviously the Denzel Ward one is big. I think on the offensive line, even those guys coming back from injury, are we finally going to see either Jedrick Wills or Jack Conklin? Because
I think when I heard it when I was over there doing my thing, they were saying, or it might have been Mary Kay. Mary Kay might have said it, that it's going to be Jack gets a series, James gets a series.
No.
Like that.
We don't need James. We don't.
What?
Don't throw James in there.
You can't throw somebody at left
know.
tackle
I
just
know.
first day out. Like, go out there.
Is
Like,
Jared ready? Is Jared? I thought they was going to
What is happening with Jed Wills?
he wait until.
Why is this guy not ready to
He
play?
got 2 more weeks, according to.
I told you.
What is happening
It's
here?
funny because he actually planned into that. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little something this week. Next week, I'm gonna really give you something. We play Washington. All right, I'm back.
Well, he back Washington. He seen these pass rushers out here. He is like, I am not coming back off an injury in a contract year, getting toasted around this corner. That's what's going on, bull.
If that's the case, then that's a loser mentality.
He's a businessman. He's like, nah.
You really think that's happening?
If he comes back Washington week, it's just gonna be funny to me. It's ironic that he picked that week.
You see where they looked against the Cowboys?
Yeah.
That would have been all on Jed Wills. He knows. He read the tea leaves.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, listen, I am not a fan favorite around here. They do not mess with me. I'm not about to get that smoke. I'm not catching that smoke.
Yeah.
Josh Allen graded like a 92% last week against the Browns, like 92, like in PFF. So this week, listen, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, like. You got some edge rushers up there. You got some people up there that can make your knife a little scary. So you're like, look, I'm going to come back. I'm going to get my money off against these Commanders.
I was laughing because I had seen, I think Mary Kay had tweeted out yesterday that Dawand was out. He also had, like, similar to what Jed had, but it wasn't as bad. She made sure she put it wasn't as bad as Jed. And it's funny that Dawand been playing, and it's like we still waiting.
And Jed's been out like 10 months.
Jed might as well take a red shirt.
No, it's legit a mystery. It has gotten to the point now where we've had no information.
Zero.
There's not a single data point. I tried looking this up yesterday. There's not a single data point of a guy who had the same surgery that Jed had that has missed this much time without at least some sort of update or knowledge to our knowledge.
If he comes
right.
Yeah.
If
and
he
in
comes
the offseason, guys, we never had a conversation about Jed Wills missing the start of the season.
Ever.
It was never on our radar.
It was always Jack Conklin or Dawand. Who's your swing tackle?
Right.
Like, we never in a world anticipated Jed Wills not being ready.
Yeah.
And I actually want to ask you guys this real quick because I had this as a potential topic. And do you think the Browns actually thought that Jed would be ready for week 1? And if they didn't, is it a miss on their part for not having a better backup plan at left tackle?
Yes. Yes, it's their fault.
All the above letter D.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
No, they didn't think he would not be ready.
Yeah, I think they thought he'd be ready.
Yeah, because they
That's
probably
why-
looked at it like, oh, it's not going to take that long.
That's
It's
why
like,
they was like, oh, we cool with James. Like, he not going to play anyway. Like,
they knew that they would get the best out of Jed because it's a contract year, so he's going to play his heart out because he's trying to get a contract from somewhere. So they wasn't worried about that part. So that's why they like, yeah, we don't need to go get a left tackle. James has been in the system. We good. Like, that's what it was.
Well, they did sign a tackle, Akeem Adeniji. I mean, he's not very good.
And Fetty.
And Fetty.
But they they figured that probably was a preseason thing.
Yeah.
And you needed a backup.
I mean, obviously we're just speculating. We don't know for sure. But it does seem like the Browns assumed Jed was going to be ready for week 1. And the fact that he's just started practicing now.
If Jed come back, Commanders week, I'm telling you, I'm going to laugh. Who we play after the Commanders?
The Ravens,
Eagles.
right? Oh, the Eagles, then the Ravens.
Well, he can't drag it out that long.
Nah,
he can't drag it out.
Eagles. That we all into the second part of the season almost.
That man ducking that.
Man, he ducking that edge smoke.
Well, we got the conspiracy theories brewing here.
It's smart. I'm not mad at him. It's really smart. Like
When you
I'm coming off an injury. I haven't did OTAs. I haven't did training camp. But you want me to come right back and go up against the best? Like that's.
But if you're a good player, you believe in yourself.
You see
does that
what-
matter?
I agree with you, but also if it goes left, this is the end of my money.
That's
but
it.
wait a second, guys. If he got off to a bad start, okay, and then from week 5 on played great, teams wouldn't hold that against him.
If he got off to a bad start, that means Jack Conklin is coming in the game.
I don't think so.
What do you mean? If he plays horrible the first 4 games,
if he had been ready for the start of the season, they wouldn't have even worked Jack at left tackle.
he would have been that bad that they would have been like, oh no, we got to come on over here, Jack. You got to think about it. So we already see what Michael Parsons did, right? Devastating, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen balled out last game, right? He has Max Crosby coming up, and he has Thibodeau. But these guys all have over 11 sacks, all of them.
And Brian Burns.
Brian Burns. What? No.
I don't buy that they would.
You're not setting me
I like
up.
your first conspiracy theory. I'm not buying they would have benched him.
I don't know about bench.
Yeah,
But they've been rotating. Look, he's like, look, this is a new thing in the NFL. I am not coming back till I'm a fully 100% ready.
They would. That might be true.
Myles Garrett's not doing that.
But they wouldn't have benched him. They would have let it ride out because they needed to know whether or not they was going to pay him. And according to Jason, if you got to wait till now, you're not going to pay him. So
go ahead, Mike.
Let's get on to our next topic here after a word from a new sponsor to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It is Arena Club. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Luka or an Ellie De La Cruz or a Patrick Mahomes rookie card just isn't in the cards. You guys know I love collecting, but that's some serious money to drop. However, thanks to the slab packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was a hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for every single one. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. And right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL and using code LockedOnNFL. That is arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL. Code LockedOnNFL for 10% off your first purchase.
All right, Mike. So, guys, the Giants, coming into the season, everybody thought they'd be one of the worst teams in the league. They're off to an 0-2 start. I had New York sports talk legend Mike Francesa on with me, and he was like, the Browns are going to win, and the Giants may be like 0-6, 0-7 if you look at their schedule. By the way, check out that video if you haven't seen it, my interview with Mike. He highly praises both Cleveland and the Browns. He said in this interview that he thinks Cleveland right now is the toughest place to play on the road for any team. Which I don't know if I agree with him, but from somebody outside of Cleveland,
Kansas City?
That was his opinion. Just because he said the Browns are so tough and physical defensively.
Oh, okay. Well, I can understand
that he thinks it beats teams get beat up physically playing the Browns.
I can understand
and it takes
that.
a few weeks to recover. That's his opinion. The guy's been covering the NFL forever. If I don't know, Ty, first let me ask you this: do teams really ever take teams lightly? Does that really happen?
This ain't college. You can't take nobody lightly. The NFL
That's what I thought.
is so weird, and every game is close. I mean, they just lost last week by a field goal.
Yeah.
And the first week, I don't even remember what they scored. Did they get blown out?
They got
blown out by the Vikings.
Minnesota.
Okay, yeah. So that very seldomly do you see teams really getting blowed out like that anyway. So you can't take anybody lightly because they got Malik Nabers, they got Devin Singletary, who if you take them lightly, they will.
Yeah, he's a solid player.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that nobody goes into the game thinking, oh yeah, we about to blow these guys out. We're gonna be sitting out in the third, fourth quarter. Like no, that's a college mentality.
Right. I just always think about this trap game, and I generally don't buy that. And in this case,
if anything, you better be thinking about I'm about to run my stats up. I'm trying to get paid. Let me get some stats out here.
And in this case, like let's say the Browns were playing the Bengals, the Steelers, or the Ravens next week. Maybe there's something to that you're looking ahead. Maybe. I don't know. But they're playing the Raiders. It's not like they're playing a rival next week either. So I just don't buy that at all. And like you said, nobody should take anybody lightly in the NFL. And the Browns are certainly not good enough.
I'm about to say they haven't put up a performance yet that's been completely dominant for 4 quarters.
49ers just lost to the Vikings.
That's what I'm saying. So like no.
As you said, the NFL. There's no Akrons on the schedule.
Yeah. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to, if the Cleveland Browns win this game, this is the thing I hate. And I don't know if y'all feel the same way. This irks me to no ends of the earth. When they play these games, right? And they go out there and say, for instance, your team looks good in that win. Mm-hmm. Before the game, it was, oh, this is a pretty good team. They got a good defense. This should be a tough battle. You beat them. Oh, well, listen, I don't know how much we can take from that because that team looks like they're about to just tank and they look horrible. Their coach is going to get fired. And how good really are they? No, people. We're not going to do this no more. Like, I'm taking it week by week. If we go out there and play against the Giants, I don't care if it's the Giants, the Jaguars, or St. Ignatius. If you want to schedule, you getting paid, I'm taking advantage of that, and we're going to try to win these football games. And for the Browns, we got a bunch of stuff we're working on offensively. We got a bunch of things that we want to get guys. We need to get Amari Cooper ready to go. Deshaun Watson needs to continue to work. The offensive line need to clean up penalties. The play calling and Coach Kevin Stefanski, clock management, things of that, having a successful drive after the first 15 plays. We need to clean up all of that.
Yeah.
And we coming out here playing the Giants. I'm not about to discount none of that if they do take care of some of those different things because the Giants are supposed to suck. No one sucks.
There's no denying that if you beat a really good team or a team you think is really good, that's more impressive.
Yeah.
I'm going to take more out of a win over the Ravens or the Bengals than I am going to take out of one of the Giants. More. Mm-hmm. But to say you take nothing out of that, that's stupid. The only time I could ever make that argument in the NFL is maybe the last week of the season, sitting all their guys.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I would never do that. Again, like a blowout in the NFL is winning by 17 points.
Right. Yeah.
In college, a blowout's winning by 60 or 50 or 40. You know, like the Browns are favored by 6.5 points. You know, when Ohio State play, who's Ohio State playing this week?
Marshall, 39.5.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like if Ohio State
39.5.
Ohio State. I'm not going to learn anything about Ohio State this week. I'm not learning anything about Ohio State.
No.
But the Browns, they're at home and only a 6.5 point favorite, which means if they were playing at Giant Stadium, they'd be like a 2 point favorite. The Browns. It's not like they're that much better than the Giants. They're better. I think we'd all agree on that. Giants could win this game. It's ridiculous to think they couldn't.
Well, I mean, depending on how that offense look, because, I mean, yes, we've seen the Browns play bad one week. Yeah. Then we've seen them play good. I wouldn't say good. Decently.
But even the way they played good, they didn't score that many points.
Exactly. So it's like, as a Browns fan, I still don't know exactly what I'm getting. Right. I still don't know which version of the Browns are they. One of them is realer than the other one. So I'm hoping that everything is good. I know that they're going to play hard because the first showing at home against Dallas was embarrassing. So they want to come back and they want to get their shine back at home in front of their fans. So I know they're going to play hard. But I can't go out there and guarantee that it's going to look good because they haven't done it for weeks consistently yet.
Hey, McNuggets. Hey, yo,
what's up?
Hey, listen, I don't want to derail you. I gotta ask these two because they was not here yesterday.
No.
I gotta.
You wasn't here yesterday?
No, he wasn't here. He was ill. Sean King came on, right? And Sean King had such a masterful oration and broke it down so crazy on the film that 2 of our panel members flip-flopped. We had 2 panel members cross over to the dark side.
Jay and Dustin?
Jay and Dustin. Now, I asked them yesterday.
What you mean?
I asked them yesterday because I was sensitive, and I said, hold on, let me get this right. We started talking about Alabama quarterbacks and who was good and who ain't good, and they said, and I asked them point blank, I said, so are you saying Deshaun Watson, would you take Jalen Hurts or Tua over Deshaun Watson?
Now or back in college?
Today, I asked Jay Crawford.
Did you ask Sean King that?
No, Sean King started the conversation by saying that Deshaun Watson is more talented than 80% of the rest of the quarterbacks in the league.
Okay.
Once he said that, I said, well, listen, hey, Jay, it seems like he thought he played okay. Now, we talk about who good and who ain't. Would you take Deshaun Watson or would you take Tua
Right
or
now,
Jalen Hurts?
if I had to make a decision today,
Yeah.
I would take Jalen Hurts, then Deshaun, then Tua.
Jay Crawford said, I'm not taking neither one of them over Deshaun Watson. I then turned to my wife and said, what's going on, Dustin? It seems like he said he was playing okay. Would you take Tua or Jalen Hurts over Deshaun Watson? He said no. He also said it. Wow. McNugget said it was a preference. So I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm trying to.
2 weeks ago, everybody,
2 weeks ago,
they were writing them off.
Jason Lloyd said 2 weeks ago, I seen enough. We got to go. It was the creme de la creme.
I would not take him over Jalen Hurts right now, would you?
I'm confused.
Would I take Deshaun over Jalen Hurts? I'm not a big Jalen Hurts fan.
What would change? I mean, listen, and I defended Deshaun. He played a decent game last week.
See, but this the thing, though. Yeah. This the thing.
Okay. See?
I personally would take Deshaun over Jalen Hurts because I feel like if Deshaun was in with that receivers core that they got over there, I think he'd be good. I think he'd be fine in that system.
All I know is he hasn't played well for a few years.
I agree to that statement. Yes,
now, he did play better last week.
I agree to that statement. Yes.
So how can he be? So my question is to the chat and everybody involved: how can Deshaun Watson be a bottom 10 quarterback if you say you would not take Jalen Hurts, who's been in the Super Bowl, Tua, who throws for 4,000 yards?
I just wouldn't take Tua because I'm writing Tua off.
We took concussions out of it for the
concussions are gone.
Oh, well, you didn't say that.
Concussions gone. We even gave him that one too. Concussions gone.
Oh, if you told me he was going to be healthy, I'd take Tua right now over Deshaun.
For me. To me, Bull. It was so. I just had to ask you because that says a lot. How can you say then that Deshaun Watson, if you don't believe in him, when you wouldn't take Hurts or Tua over him?
Yeah, I don't. And I'm shocked by Jay because he's been more negative on Deshaun than anybody.
He says he said he still believes he has something in there. It was
we've been saying. Never mind.
It was on tape. I just had to ask.
That's weird.
I had to ask my fellow cohorts.
Yeah.
If you want to hear some of the Sean King
go back and watch
breakdowns, check out the YouTube clip we had with Sean King. His interview yesterday was terrific. I posted 3 of the 4 clips from the film breakdown on my Twitter. I've retweeted it on UCSS if you want to go find the actual film breakdowns. We'll be doing that every week with Sean. And let's bring in Leroy Hoard now, guys. If you missed the Ultimate Buckeye Show on Wednesday with Dustin and Tyvis, it is up on our YouTube page, the preview in the Marshall game, talking about life as a white cornerback in the NFL as only Dustin can. A fascinating conversation between our two Buckeye champions. And from a Buckeye to a Wolverine, it is now time to welcome Leroy Hoard to the show.
Life as a white cornerback. You know, there's one in the NFL right now.
Two.
No, it's 2.
For the Dolphins.
2.
Who's the other one?
Riley
DeJean and Riley Moss.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean.
Okay. Because I know Jason Sehorn blew his hammies out every weekend.
Yeah.
That was funny because that was the question I asked Dustin. I said, Dustin, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, as a white corner, you know what a receiver's saying. They lining up and they going, right now. I don't care what the call is. Right now, fade right now.
I got him. Raise that
run,
that's what he said. He said they found out that I actually was athletic and I could run and I'd stop it. So I was like, okay,
that's when you look out.
Well, it's like
Instead
Larry.
of the quarterback signaling the receiver signaling the quarterback. Go. Go. You go. No, you're supposed to run the slant. Go.
You ain't even hiding.
No, you're not hiding.
Have you ever heard Isaiah Thomas talk about how, I can't remember, maybe the first time he played against Larry. I don't know if it was the first time he played against
Larry
him.
Bird be talking
But one of the
trash.
first times Isaiah Thomas played against the Celtics and Bird, he said Bird was pissed that they were putting white guys to defend him. He was offended by that. He was because the Pistons' front court at that time was 3 white dudes, and he was like, Bird was like, "You ain't got no black guy to defend me." He's like, "What the hell's going on?" He was really offended by that.
Like, I can't believe you put this dude on me like that.
Yeah.
Don't play me like that.
It was funny. But anyway, Leroy, obviously a lot better performance week 2 there by Deshaun. What'd you think of his performance and the Browns' performance?
Can I say this?
Sure.
And I don't know if you guys agree with it, but we got to start looking at quarterbacking on a curve, because it's been average everywhere. I've never seen more 20 for 30s for 145 yards than I've seen this year in the NFL.
It's crazy.
Okay, 29 for 40 for 180. Right? So I don't know what this is, but everybody tends to be looking at their quarterback going, what the hell? Because I know they ain't give Aaron Rodgers $50 million for that.
Right.
So while we sitting here, everybody getting on their quarterback, right? Should we look at just the way the position is being asked to be played at the moment? Because nobody's being asked for they had running backs who had more yards rushing than 15 quarterbacks had throwing.
It's weird.
That's unheard of. And he only had like 150. So I'm trying not to go there with any quarterback particularly, just because the overall picture with all these little short passes and get the ball out. Nobody got any offensive line help? Can't nobody block offensive line because they trying to get the ball out of quarterback hands quickly.
You know what it is, Leroy? The defense has figured it out, man. It finally is back to where it's supposed to be. That defense wins championships.
But here,
go ahead.
I've always said this, and it's funny that I smiled after week 1 and 2 because I realized, all the teams that's running the football are having a better chance of winning. And it's funny that you could go through 100 years of football, and it always gets back to run the football, stop the run.
Telling you, Leroy, I thought about the Browns. I thought about the Browns when Deontay Foreman was in the game. I said, "Oh, hold on, what is this? What is you running some duo? You running some straight line stuff?" All of a sudden, hey, listen, me playing defensive line, I don't. One of the most difficult things in the world to do is get off a block of a 300-pound grown man, and they double team you into the next level, and you got to stop them 2 or 3 times in a row, and they out there running power and running zone and old school gap plays. That slow that pass rush down all the way. And I thought about how good the Browns looked when they actually was married to the thought of running the football.
Right. Like, whatever happened to, football in the last few years has gotten to this. We used to run the football to set up the pass, play action, stuff like that. And then you have your passing situations, of course. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, we going to pass the ball, and people have the audacity to say on TV, well, that quick pass is just like an outside run. No, it ain't.
No, it's not.
They ain't completing it. Right? And so they have the audacity. Look at me, a football guy, and put that BS in my ear. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. So we look at football right now and see that the teams that are having success running the football put themselves in a better, give themselves a better opportunity to win. And we can take it one step further. Y'all can keep diminishing the value of a running back, and see where you end up. Because all them teams that value running backs and put a moose in their backfield and put a guy that can make plays, guess what? You know why we ain't talking about the Philly quarterback? Why we ain't talking about him? Because they run the hell out of the football and they always gonna have a chance to win unless the coach make a dumb decision.
Yeah, like he did Monday.
Right. So yeah, like I'll take my chances with that. Being in the game at the end of the game every week, yeah, you're going to win a lot of games that way.
Leroy, let me ask you, first of all, I want to say that shirt you got on is cute. It's real cute. You know, it's coming to an end.
I'm aware. Hey,
it's coming to an end.
I'm aware while I can, baby.
It's coming.
Look, hey, you gonna get some Michigan stuff all the way up until Thanksgiving. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I'm gonna keep it on the Browns because I don't even want to go down that road. I'm gonna keep it on the Browns.
All right.
Last time the Browns played at home was Week 1 and they got embarrassed. Now that they're playing the Giants, what do you think that their mentality is? And people are worried that they will take the Giants lightly. Have you ever taken the team that you played lightly in the NFL?
Why? How many Super Bowls you won?
0.
Huh? How many times you been in the AFC Championship? Like, how are you taking the team lightly?
That's right.
Right? Like, no, I promise you, ain't nobody taking the New York Giants lightly. Nobody. You know why? Because there's a bunch of teams like in the middle of the pack that haven't established themselves yet that's trying to get wins any way they can. That's facts. So they can try, and people could say that because it sounds like the cute thing to say, you know? It sounds like the cute thing that, oh, the Giants are terrible. Like, I don't know why we looking ahead. Looking ahead to what?
Yeah.
You just one of those thoughts from getting beat 30-10. I don't care who you're playing. So, no, I ain't buying that. I don't think anybody, and especially here, you know how you should look at it? You should look at it as, okay, maybe Deshaun could open it up a little bit because he might have a little more time. Or maybe he can get his timing right because it seemed like, I'm going to tell you with Deshaun, it just seemed like his football timing is off. Like he don't realize how much time he has or doesn't have, and he passed the ball sometime he should have just released it, and it just looks a little awkward right now. You know what I mean? So I hope that from repetition and plays and game experience that he can just get back into the flow of things. And so, yeah, I'm looking for them to come out and improve every week. I don't care who they playing. It don't matter who they playing. You think ain't nobody exempt from an L?
That's right.
Am I the only one that watched New England beat Cincinnati?
That's right.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. Hey, Leroy.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think about, like, Amari Cooper's off to a terrible start this year? Again, I don't think it's 2 games.
I mean, when you throw for 150 yards, that's going to happen. I'm just saying. When you throw for 100, wait, let me explain. When you throw for 150 yards, don't look at the receivers and say they had bad games. You ain't throwing the ball for 150 yards.
You're right, but if you look, he's had so many drops, which is so unusual for him.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Are you concerned about it? Yeah. You think it's just the 2 games and he'll come through it?
No, because he's Amari Cooper, one of the most short-handed receivers that we've ever seen. Here's what happens in these situations, right? You are so accustomed to him doing it,
right, that
if he should have a misstep or drop a couple of balls, you're shocked, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it don't mean that he falling off a cliff or nothing. He had a couple of bad plays. Like, let's just take it for that. Like, is that any different than a quarterback that goes a month without throwing a pick and then he have a game throwing 3 picks? No, bad game. It happens. We have bad days. So Amari Cooper has built enough equity in how I feel about him that I ain't go all of a sudden say any of those things you talking about. That man, look, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point in a career do we earn the right to say, oh, man, he just had a tough, he'll come through, though, because I know that's what kind of player he is. That's how I'm looking at Amari Cooper.
I think you're right, Leroy, but the only reason I have a tiny bit of concern is because of his age. And, you know, when a receiver hits 31, a lot of times they go over the edge. So that's why I'm a little concerned.
Is that a like 31 is the
31
like
is
I'm confused because
Yeah.
can I just tell you
Yeah.
at 32 and 33 I had 10 touchdowns each year. And everybody said I was going to fall off the cliff. I did.
Yeah.
My last 2 years I had 20 plus touchdowns.
Not
So,
everyone's Leroy Hoard.
I didn't fall off a cliff, but I knew when that cliff was coming. Hey, when I played that last year, it was like the red light went off on the back of the truck, letting you know you getting close to the cliff. I just pulled it forward and drove away.
That's it.
That's it. We ain't getting no closer to that cliff.
Leroy,
So,
let me.
no, man. I think when your team, when we look at the Browns and we look at them, and we just so used to things not working out that it's too early in the season for us to be that way, right?
Sure.
It's too early in the season. They 1-1, right? They had a bad first game. Absolutely, it was terrible. It was. I didn't recognize them Browns, right? At all, because the very next week Dallas got thumped.
Yep.
at home.
Right? So at home, and wait a minute. And I didn't have that on my bingo card either. New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, right.
At all.
Right? So it's too early in the season to be trying to figure out what everybody is, because I guarantee you ain't nobody in the NFL, nobody talking about the NFL, nobody writing about the NFL thought that the New Orleans Saints were going to score 40 in consecutive weeks.
That's true.
Let's just give it a little time. I'm still curious, though, with the quarterbacking and how nobody's throwing for 200 yards. You know, how did we get there all of a sudden when we paying these guys all the money?
Defense figured it out. That's why we got there, and I'm
Teams are
happy.
being not
I'm
aggressive
happy
enough.
for it.
Leroy,
It's about
I'ma
time that defense figures something out.
I think everybody's so scared of their quarterback getting hit that they've come up with this system to get rid of the ball quick and put the ball in their playmakers' hands quickly. But I would say, you paying them $50 million, you could have anybody throw those little bunnies, right?
Yep.
I'm just
right.
saying.
I'm trying to find the consensus here, Leroy. I'm gonna ask everybody I see because I'm confused.
Yeah.
Week 1, they told me that Deshaun Watson had to go. He was not no good. The juice was not worth the squeeze. Sean King came on and said, "Listen, I thought I gave him a C, but I'm gonna tell you what, he was accurate. He got the ball out of his hands. He didn't have that many. He didn't have no turnovers. I thought he looked more crisp. And I think, and he also said, don't get it twisted. You might get rid of the wife you got right now, and the next one you get might not be better than the one you got. And he also said he's more talented than the 80% of the league. Now listen, that was his words, not mine. Now, what I wanted to find was, I asked my castmates, 2 good quarterbacks, Tua and Jalen Hurts. I said, would you take those 2 over Deshaun Watson? They said no. Now I'm confused, Leroy. Which is it? Is he out of here? Is he done? Or are we starting to see some things that kind of give us a little bit of pause and say, well, maybe he might still got a little something? What is
Again, my whole thing is his football timing got better. It looks like he's getting more on script, more timing. Everything is starting to pick up. Now, it took a little bit longer than we all thought, but then you throw some injuries, you throw some other stuff in there, and so is it. So let's just build on this, right? As far as would I take Jalen Hurts over Deshaun Watson, I would say the only reason why you would take Jalen Hurts over Deshaun Watson is his ability to run, right? Because I think at this point, passing the ball, they're both very similar.
Okay.
So that's what but as far as if Deshaun Watson starts throwing the ball, absolutely not. I'm not taking Jalen Hurts over Deshaun if he continues on this path of how he's throwing the ball. I'm not taking neither one of those quarterbacks over Tua. Okay? If your sole goal is to be accurate with the football and throw the ball with timing, there's not many better. And as simple as that. And people don't understand that. Tua came into the league with a whole bunch of these tags on him about arm not being strong, then this or that. I will say that, you can have some concerns about the injuries, but hell, he's played more than Deshaun Watson.
Yep, take injuries out of it.
So take injury. I'm taking Tua first. Okay, and the only reason why I would lean towards the Eagles quarterback is because he's a little bit younger and he runs a little bit better. But as far as passing, if we all just talk about passing, I'm not taking Jalen Hurts over Deshaun Watson.
Go ahead, Mike.
This morning on Get Up, Leroy, Mel Kiper suggested that the two-high safety look. Did you see this? Is the two-high safety look is ruining football. They should ban two-high safety looks.
Stop.
I'm serious. No, this was a legit.
He out of line. He out of line.
Do you
want me to tell you why?
Well, I'm curious what you think about Mel Kiper's statement, and then if you agree that football is being ruined by this new era.
I think we're overreacting. It's been 2 weeks.
It's not. First of all,
I agree.
First of all, two high safety is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
I mean, if you want to go back to when the Ravens won their Super Bowl, they did it. That's all they did because they had some dogs in front seven. Okay? If you think about all the successful defenses, the reason why they are successful is because they can play that two deep defense and do everything they need to do defensively with the front seven. So, he's talking nonsense. Okay? There's ways to beat the cover two defense. First thing you got to do to beat it is have a valid tight end. Tight end is a killer to two deep looks. And the teams that have a good tight end, you notice there's only a single safety back there. So don't change the defense, change your game.
Right.
You got to beat them. It's to say you got to beat them. And so, no, there's nothing wrong with cover two. You know how you stop cover two? Run the football. If you can run the football on that front seven, guess what's going to happen? Here come Mr. Safety. Come on down, Mr. Safety. Now you got single coverage. You got a single safety. Yeah. So there's ways to beat cover two. The problem is that everybody trying to just throw the football, and now you got his check downs because you got them two deep safeties.
If you run the football, Leroy, the teams, I was reading this article about, and the teams, most teams are as you said, throwing short screen passes behind the line, and that's not working. You're right. But the few teams that are being aggressive against two high safety and throwing the ball down the field are having success, but most teams are not doing that. And they're just taking those short passes and it's not working.
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Newsflash. That middle of the field with the safeties down and the linebackers back, that is a no-go zone for some quarterbacks because they're not accurate. And that's what makes Tua so special because he eats there.
Yeah.
That's where his main course is because he can throw that thing to that area, to that space with good timing and accuracy. And that's why Waddle and Tyreek Hill run across the middle of that field like that. Okay? You want to beat the two deep, you got to put pressure on the linebackers, not the safeties.
Right.
You got to get those linebackers out of there. And that's how you get them out of there with the tight end. So teams listen, the Browns run the football. They got Njoku. They can do damage to that cover too. Because you know what happened when, to be honest with you, when last year, when Coop had that 265.
Yeah.
All they did basically was they took the tight end, ran him down the middle of the field, and ran Coop on 7 routes. So you putting pressure on that one safety. But if your tight end ain't getting no pressure on him, then he just widens out.
Yeah.
So they're like, man, stop. That's you know what that is?
Yeah.
That's called cowardly coaching.
That's right.
If you ever go into an offensive room or a room with your as an offensive coordinator and say, guys, we've been struggling against this defense, right? No, it's your job to find a way to beat it. Simple as that. You got the tools. You got a tight end who catches the ball well. You got guys who can go underneath, and you just put stress on one area of the field, whether it's the linebackers, make the linebackers run and then have somebody run underneath them, right? Or whether it's that deep safety where you have the tight end go up the middle and then run a corner route or something like that. But here's the thing. You got to have time, and you got to have a quarterback who's looking in those places.
Yeah. Leroy,
yeah, man, I'm not buying. That's garbage. When was the last time Mel Kiper played safety?
Probably never.
So, right. So, or wide receiver. Man, come on. They've been playing cover 2 since the history of football, and this is the first time I ever heard, it should be outlawed.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. Mel Kiper's lost. All right, Leroy, give us your prediction for the game. Who you got?
So here's the deal. Here's what I expect. I expect them to rely on the run, the Browns to rely on the run a little bit more. I really do. Okay? They have to take some of the pressure off Deshaun, and they have to run the ball effectively. 2nd and 7 is awesome. You know why? Because 2nd and 13 sucks when you try to run outside and you get your guy caught 3 yards in the backfield. So put Deshaun in some better situations where he can get comfortable. His timing can get well. Everybody, listen, nobody's played football this preseason. You know what you haven't done? Caught a football with people around. Yep. Everybody looked pretty in camp this year, catching the ball, running with the little tights on, and everybody just swinging, nobody getting hit. When they hitting for real, and you really getting hit, then now you haven't had that all year. So I expect them to run the football, kind of give their defense a breather. Oh my goodness, the defense, you asking too much of them. You asking too much of your defense to say, hey, every time you come off the field, we need a stop because we only scored 14 points. So I expect them to play into the hands of their defense a little bit. Give their defense a breather. Give them a chance. Deshaun's going to keep growing. Everybody's going to keep doing their part. And I think the Browns, they're going to score, I think they scored 24-plus points this week.
That'd be huge. Thanks,
because
Leroy.
I do believe that, you know what? Y'all can say what you want about Kevin Stefanski. The guy has been on it since he got into Cleveland. He's found a way to win football games with guys who probably shouldn't have been playing quarterback, with guys who were playing a little bit of quarterback. He's found ways to win, and I expect him to do that a little this week also.
Thanks, Leroy. Good stuff. We all hope that 24 would be great. We'll talk to you next week.
Right.
Go Bucks.
Okay. All right.
Snuck it in.
All right,
One and only great Leroy Hoard. We appreciate Leroy everywhere. We're going to move on to our next topic after a quick word here from FanDuel. You guys have heard us talk a lot about FanDuel in the past. It is America's #1 sportsbook, and right now they're offering a little something different for everybody. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon at a market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Bull.
Yeah, so Mike earlier this week asked fans for their hot takes on the Browns. And so what's going to happen now is, Mike, you're going to read us those hot takes.
Yep.
And we're going to basically say whether we're buying them or selling them, right?
Yeah, these are more predictions for this game against the Giants.
Okay.
These aren't big picture. It's only 2 weeks. I don't want your full. So this was more predictions for this upcoming game. Your boldest takes, your hottest predictions for Sunday's Giants-Browns matchup.
All right. Very
I got
good.
8
Go
of them.
ahead.
We're going to run through as many as we can, but we're going to talk Guardians at some point, so we're not going to spend too much time on this. First one comes from Sweet Seuss, who says the Browns' defense scores more points than the offense this week against the Giants.
I'm selling that, guys. Obviously, the defense played really well last week. I've got the offense scoring 2 touchdowns this week, and I got the defense scoring 0.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That would mean they would have to score like 14 points.
Right, probably, unless the offense scores 0 touchdowns.
Right. Like you would have to 1 touchdown means you got to score 14 points. That's like a pick 6 or what? Nah. Nope, not gonna happen.
I expect to see some takeaways this game. I don't know if they're gonna turn into touchdowns though.
I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot. That's a lot to ask for. To go out there and score 14 points on defense. Yeah,
You can't.
it's possible. I ain't gonna say it can't happen.
You never could predict turnovers, man. Like turnovers, like people be saying it like, "Hey, man, this team is topping the leagues in turnovers. I expected them to get 2 turnovers." You can't ask for that.
Never.
That's not a thing, man.
No. And a lot of it's luck and timing.
Right.
They're one of the hardest things to predict. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're against that one. So
Sell
go
it.
ahead, Mike.
All right, this
Number
next
2.
one, if this happens, we have to get this guy in the show and give him everything because this is from Ian. He predicts Jameis Winston breaks the record for most QB sneaks in a single game. They run the same play 200 times. He has become too powerful. Stefanski afraid to bench him.
I guess it's possible.
What's wrong with people, man?
He go quarterback sneak 200.
There's not even 200 plays in a game.
There's
I
not.
asked for the hottest
Combined.
take and their boldest prediction. That's
Yeah.
certainly bold. It fits the criteria.
He didn't say delusional. He didn't say like that. Is like that's almost like a near-death
It's not
experience.
even
Like,
200 plays in
He'd
a
have
game.
to-
plays?
For that to happen, he would have to. I'm trying to figure out like the
He'd average
logistically.
3.4 yards a carry.
No, really, we'd have to average 3 yards a carry, and they'd have to get the first down on 4th down every
Yes.
time.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you'd want there to be as many plays as possible.
So I'm gonna start the quarterback sneak challenge. If you can beat the computer on all Madden running just quarterback sneaks, I'll give you $100.
Bolt 2.6 yards per carry is the exact number he'd have to
2.6,
average,
impossible. Right.
average and go for it on
Beat the
every 4th
computer.
down.
Quarterback
And get a
sneak.
3 and out every time.
No,
Speaking of
you,
which,
you get like 1 yard.
right now, you're what, 42?
Yeah, I think.
You're not sure?
I don't know.
forget?
What
year were you born? 81?
Yeah, like
When is your birthday?
November 14th.
So you're going to be 43.
Yeah, like that's wild. Like, why don't I remember that?
That is crazy.
Like I think somebody was like, somebody said you're scared of getting old, so you just stop counting.
black it out.
You just kind of blank it out. But
No.
I really don't care.
Well, let me ask you this. As a 42-year-old man, a once excellent athlete who has a lot of physical issues at the moment,
My physical prowess is down.
if you had to right now, somebody comes up to you and says, all right, I'll give you $1 million for doing nothing.
Oh, I seen this.
Right.
Okay.
You get
But-
5 yards in the NFL game,
You can't-
10 million.
It was how many carries? I don't remember. Was it 10 carries?
10 carries,
Can you
5
get-
yards,
but if you get
$10 million.
If you get 5 yards on 10 NFL carries, you get $10 million.
But I gotta get what's 1 million?
Nothing.
Nothing.
So I get explain that again.
You either get $1 million for doing nothing, or you have 10 carries in an NFL game behind whatever offensive line you want.
That's not what he said. They
I thought it was.
No, they picked the line.
Okay.
They said the 10th best line.
All right, so a solid offensive
against,
line.
I think they said
you
like
got to get 5 yards in 10 carries. But if you don't get it, you get no money. If you get it, you get 10
it
million.
was Dallas's offensive line. That's who it
Dallas's
was.
offensive line. What would you do?
So first and foremost, I've already
And it was against like a top 5 defense.
I've already had a strategy for this.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you've already have a strategy.
My
for this.
strategy for anything is when you go into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you can leave home, you can leave here right now with $450,000 or go for the $1 million question.
Right.
I came here with nothing, so I'm taking the $450,000. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, that's
now,
smart.
Now for me, so I could get injured in the first play,
Right, then
and then have no chance to get the 9 carries.
right.
Nothing for $1 million. I didn't like that's free money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the free.
I would take the $1 million. I'm guessing Tyvus would go for the 5 yards.
Yeah, well, 5 yards?
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
10 carries for 5. Yes.
But I feel like physically.
Are you serious? I'm going out there and
I'm saying you
I'm
would
telling
do it.
them right now I want the spread. I want 2 by 2. We coming out 10 personnel. So get these linebackers out there. It's
It's
one-on-one with the
getting 5
linebacker.
yards.
I'm getting
Yes.
5 yards. 10
I think-
carries? I'm getting that ball going straight and putting my shoulder down.
I'm with you. I think you would.
I think Tyvus could mess around and get 20 yards.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like he played in the NFL, dog.
Listen, I'm getting behind that line and I'm running straight into the back of my lineman. We going for at least 2
I
yards.
don't even think I could get 1 yard in 10 carries.
You crazy.
You could get a fullback dive.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I saw
have-
Bolt try and crawl his way to first base.
I have no first step.
Here's how you could do it.
Yeah.
If he wanted 5 yards and got
Yeah.
10 carries, all they have to do is if he can take the snap and do the tush push, he gets 5 yards easy.
That's my only chance is if they pushed me. But
And
I'm 340 pounds.
But guess what?
Jalen Hurts only weighs like $180.
You only got to get 5 yards, so that means you got to get like a half a
I
yard.
appreciate
There's absolutely no way that I'm
support
not
me,
getting
G.
them 5 yards.
But
I'm telling you right now, I'm getting 5 yards.
I think Tyvis and Bull are both locks. Tyvis locked to get it. Bull locked not to get it.
Oh, you wouldn't get it either, my friends.
I think I could.
No
I think I
chance you
would.
get it.
5 yards.
I would
100%
have survived.
get it.
And I'm 245. I'm how big as the
You think Mike would get
linebackers
it?
nowadays. I'm definitely
You
getting
think
it.
Mike would get it?
Yes, it's 5. You can scheme like Tyler
You
said.
you can't come out there and run out formation.
You
got to
gotta
run
scheme 'em.
2
You
by
gotta be right
2.
under the basket.
Spread them out so they got to go down personnel. Go down so it's just you and the Mike linebacker.
Like,
If it's blocked up,
weighs all-
right, you should get
What I'm saying,
there.
if injuries weren't a factor,
Yeah.
I could get 5 yards. I would get every bone in my body broken on the first hit.
10. If you said 5 carries for 5, that's 10 carries for 5. How could you not?
I could get the 5 yards because it's just gonna be hard tackling somebody my size anyway.
And they said
true.
I'm running,
And
I'm running behind Zach Martin because they said Dallas's offensive line.
I could fall forward. Like I'm already like 6'4", 6'5".
That's true. Just stretch your
all I
arms
gotta
out
do is
there.
stretch and give me the first down.
That's true. It doesn't matter if you fumble; you still get the rest of the
Right.
categories.
So
categories.
easy money.
All
Now,
right, Mike. Go ahead.
Next one, you ready?
Wait, hold on. G had one final thought on this.
now listen. Could a woman get the yards? Like say it was Mary Kay.
No.
Mary Kay had to get
I
5
would say the
yards.
same thing I say about Mike. They're too small. She's too small.
Or
Now
like
you told me, some big strong woman.
Mary-
I'd say yes.
Mary-
100%.
my wife would die on the first carry.
Yeah, your wife couldn't do it. She's tiny also.
She'd be out of here.
Well, they got to get over it. First, you got to get over the stage fright. That's first of
Who's
all.
a big strong woman we know?
What's the girl that's on the lady on the Brown staff?
Oh yeah.
Callie.
Yeah,
I think she could get 5 yards.
10 yards.
I think
I would believe so too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she plays football.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, I bet you she could get 5 yards. She's a good athlete, I assume.
All right, back to the hot takes here. Speaking of a couple yards, how about Amari Cooper finally has his breakout game? 9 receptions for 130 and a tutty.
It's just not going to be that.
I don't know
that's
about 130, but I give you the catch. I give you 6 catches and a TD. I give you that.
I don't know about the reception.
Dang, that's messed up. You really down on him.
The
like
targets, that's 9 receptions. How
that.
many
He had
targets?
8 targets last week.
I just don't know that they're going to be throwing the ball that crazy.
I do. They got to get him going.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The Giants' defense, by the way, against Washington, they were the definition of bend, don't break. Washington got 7 field goals, no touchdowns in that game last week.
Get you
And
three.
just because it's last week doesn't mean it's
Three.
going to
Get
happen
you
again.
none.
They could not score in the red zone. Now, they have a rookie quarterback.
They
but-
secondary really not good.
Who, Washington?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know anybody in it.
No, it's not good.
The one guy they drafted in the first round, I don't even know if he starts.
Oh.
Last year.
All right, so you
He
think
got hurt. He's out for the year, Ty.
With
You're
the
buying
thumb,
this
with a
one?
thumb injury?
Yeah, Forbes.
With the thumb
Yeah,
injury?
they placed him on
thumb
IR.
injuries out for the year?
Placed him on IR.
A
Before
thumb
the
injury?
What?
They placed him on IR before the season?
No, he just went on IR, but
Oh,
they said
so-
they're not expecting him back for the season.
Ah.
Emmanuel Forbes. You're talking about?
Yeah,
he's been
yeah.
terrible anyway. but-
That's what I know, but still.
All right.
Thumb injury?
So you're yes on this bold prediction?
No.
I know you're no.
That's a lot of
I'm no.
yards.
130.
130 is a lot.
You saying
We
no?
ain't even,
Think about it.
He got what, 145 total?
We threw
No, he doesn't.
No, I'm talking about what did Deshaun throw
He
for
was
last?
186.
Yeah.
He threw for 186 last game.
The only way Amari's getting that is if Deshaun has like a
That's
throws for 250.
my
plus,
point
and
exactly.
I just don't see that type of game.
Oh, no.
for me.
He got to throw for 300 to get that.
Probably.
That's half his production.
Probably. You're right. All right, Mike. What's next?
Next up, this from Damian Frederick. He was on the fan show with me last week.
How'd that go? The second one, by the
It
way.
was good. It was good. We're doing another one this Friday.
All right.
So Damian Frederick said, Browns run for 200 yards between Ford, Foreman, and Watson.
It's funny in my headlines. In my headline, my highlight is the Browns rushing for a lot of yards this week. I don't think they'll get 200, but I think they're going to run for a lot of yards.
I got him at like 168 to 175.
Something like that. Yeah, I could see that.
I can see it. I can see 200.
That's not crazy though.
I can see 200.
Yeah,
It's kind of the most realistic
Deshaun start taking off and running. I can see 200.
that's definitely the most realistic of the
of
predictions.
what we've heard so
Yeah,
far.
Yeah.
of the bold predictions.
All right, next one comes from I'm Just Saying Sports. This one, the opposite direction. I'm Just Saying Sports says Daniel Jones plays better than Deshaun Watson and the Giants winning Cleveland.
It's
possible.
I don't think
I would not dismiss that at all.
So say Watson throw for 175 and Daniel Jones throw for 196 and a touchdown, and Watson don't throw no touchdown.
Yeah.
And then it's a low-scoring game.
Yeah. I actually have the Giants scoring no touchdowns in this game.
Really?
I think this game could be a spark off type game because
I'm trying to think.
I think people
Is they receiving core? It's Nabers, Wan'Dale
Darius
Robinson, and Slayton. Who's the tight end?
Daniel Bellinger, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's a mix of nobody.
Eric Bellinger.
No, Daniel.
Cody Bellinger.
They really don't got nobody that's like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's a decent player. Malik obviously is a great player. Slayton he's a deep threat, but if everybody running this too high thing, I mean.
Now Daniel Jones can hurt you in scrambles if they get out of their rush lanes. Yeah. You got to stay disciplined. You can't be dipping inside. You know, he can hurt you with his legs a little bit. And for them, they just want to stay on the field. They just want to they just want to move the chains and keep it staying out there.
And we know over the last 2 years, really last year, because it hasn't been the case yet this season, the Browns have at times struggled with mobile quarterbacks.
Yes. They let Russell
God,
Wilson
like this man Vic or something.
Nobody's saying he's Vic, but
he
can run.
Daniel Jones can run.
Yeah, the turf.
He's a better runner than he is a thrower.
The turf eats him up too.
You know you've been in them locker rooms. You've been in thousands of meetings where these defensive coordinators be hyping up these players you going against, and you be like, "Dang, you got this dude." They come in on Sunday.
This happens every week.
I'm gonna tell you guys.
This is every week.
There's some of you in here.
There's
some of you in here that's reading your press clippings. Let me tell you about these Giants, man. The Giants, listen, they had 300 yards of total offense, and we're like, that's not that much. But I'm gonna tell you what, Daniel Jones has the ability to beat you with his legs. If we come out here playing around, Daniel Jones, if we're not disciplined rush lanes, Daniel Jones is going to convert first downs, money downs. I'm telling you guys right now, they will manufacture an argument.
No, they do that. They really do. It's been so many times that I went in the game hyped up, and you get out there and be like, man,
I knew you was trash.
Are you ever out on the field like, this guy sucks?
Yes! Like, man.
They had
Who's the quarterback you said that about, Tyvus?
Tyvus not gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't do that. Well, like, man, I tell him cut it out, man. Cut it out.
I'll say it. He texts me and then I say it. I'm like, keep your jobs, bro.
Russell Wilson sucks?
Justin Fields? No.
Next one, we had an Amari Cooper prediction. This is a Jerry Jeudy prediction. This just feels like from Blake Folger, 26-38. This feels like a Jerry Jeudy game. 113 all-purpose yards and a reverse of 30 yards.
What?
So that's part of the 113 is the 30-yard run.
That's doable.
That's doable. I don't know if they want to run the reverse-onomics with.
Did he run a reverse last week?
Yeah, he got.
It was a giant 0-yard gain.
It looked like it was going to be a good play.
And then it was this corner. Yeah. You know how it is when that corner come out of nowhere. You be like, dang it, where'd the corner come from?
Did a good job of crack replacing.
Yeah. That corner be show up
Not
late.
Impossible. I'd bet against it though.
I would. I don't think they're gonna run too much of that.
You wouldn't run that 2 weeks in a row.
No.
Why not?
It's already on tape.
It's on tape.
The other team might be thinking they're not going to run that 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, but the edge will be on alert, and you got Thibodeau and Brian Burns. Please do it. We'll kill them.
Can I ask this question? And I've been wanting to ask this question for a long time. When you talk about plays running them 2 weeks in a row, if you're so dominant with running scripted plays, right? So people say I'm gonna script my first 15. Stefanski is great with it, right? Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Come out looking great, off balance. Everything's moving up and down the field. Points. Why wouldn't you just script the first 15 plays of the second half too?
Because they know what you're doing?
No. They're completely different plays.
I'm sure they do have a plan coming out.
I
guess you can't prepare for it because you don't know what the status of the game is going to be at that time.
But the defense can't prepare for it because they're like, bro, we have not seen any of these plays on film, and they didn't run it in the first half.
Do you think that they come out in the second half and don't think that they – usually the first half is let's see how they plan. Let's see what we can do. We're going to run some plays to see what is open, and we'll come back to it. But usually going into the game, they have the kind of concepts and stuff that they want to run. They just get to it out of different formations and dress it up.
That second mix, that second batch of cookies for them is terrible. They missing something in the second batch, Tivus. These cookies, the second batch came out. It was not. You didn't have enough yeast in it.
You can't say that. You can't say that because
the first batch was crumble. The second batch was Keebler.
You can't say that. You got to say they haven't put two halves together yet. The first half of the first game was terrible offensively. The second half was decent. Last week, the first half was good. The second half was terrible. So it flipped.
I don't buy the second half. That was all. They were down big by that point.
So what? But they still was getting completions and
but
stuff.
the Cowboys had taken their foot off the gas.
I thought the foot was off the gas pedal.
After the punt return for a touchdown,
I thought that
was over.
I'm confused why the plays seem to be super stagnant in the third quarter. And Mikey did. I think he did the whole thing with the points and how many points coming out of halftime. And it's one of their lowest scoring joints. I just throwing it out there. I don't know why.
No, I think it is. I think they do have a plan for what they're going to do. It just don't work.
It just don't be working.
Mike,
you never heard them say, when we come out in the second half, we're going to score?
Last one, guys. Last one.
Last one comes from Tyler Yoder, who says, Myles Garrett gets 3 sacks. Denzel gets a pick 6. Deshaun throws for 300. Jerry, Judy, and Amari Cooper both get 100 receiving yards, and the Browns win 35.
I'm going to tell you right now.
That's a crazy parlay. Go ahead.
If that happens, this is going to be the greatest show.
A lot more than 35.
This is going to be
like 49.
This is going to be the greatest show on Monday ever. If that happens,
49-3 if they all do that.
If they do that, I'm standing on the table.
They do that Tuesday. I'm coming in with a gold bottle of Welch's.
Listen, actually, I would go right through the building.
You ain't standing. I love you, Drew. You ain't standing on that table.
Yeah,
that would not be good.
Not only would the table break, because of the way the thing moves up and down, you would fall off. You'd break your ankle.
Oh, my God.
Probably pull some herniated discs. It'd be a catastrophe all around if that happened.
That would be a disaster.
Bubble wrap life.
What if G and I both stood on it at the same time?
Whoa.
Oh, it'd just.
And we balance it out.
It'd just disintegrate.
I think the whole thing would collapse.
Let's talk some Guardians Bowl.
Yeah.
Before we do that, a quick word from Arena Club, the newest sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a special rookie card like Luka Doncic or Patrick Mahomes just isn't realistic. You guys know I love collecting, but that's a lot of money to drop. However, thanks to slapbacks from arenaclub.com, now is possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card I just listed above was a hit from last week's Arena Club slabpacks drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value with a complete view of all possible cards and clear hit rates for every single one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. And right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL and using promo code LockedOnNFL, just like you see on your screen. That's arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL, code LockedOnNFL for 10% off your first purchase. A hell of a win for the Guards yesterday, Bull. A walk-off win, and Josh Naylor owns the Twins. I mean, seriously, this dude owns the Twins.
Well, and he needed it because obviously he's not been playing well. A number of guys at the top of the lineup, led by Stephen Kwan, who I guess I'm sure you guys talked about it yesterday, going on the injured list, have been struggling. They needed that. He tied up the game twice, and it was big. He put him over the 30 home run plateau for the first time in his career, and maybe that will propel him to getting back to the player he was the first half of the season here down the stretch. You got just a few games left in the regular season. They got, 9 games left, I think? Mm-hmm. And they need him. They need Kwan, Jose, and Naylor in particular to be really good in the playoffs. And by the way, another big hit by Kyle Manzardo, who comes through, because the Guardians were down 4-2 in the 10th.
I know. I thought they lost. I cut it off. I was like, it's over.
Yeah, I was like, it's nasty.
Manzardo comes through with a big hit in the 10th inning. And then Brayan Rocchio, who they gave a good stat on the TV. I'll give him credit, Matt Underwood there, that Rocchio has hit late in, as bad as the season as it's been overall for him, late in close games. There's a stat late and close. So it's like 7th inning on, 1-run game. He's hitting 290 in those situations. So he's been clutch, and he comes through with a line drive to right. And the Guardians walk it off with 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. The Tigers won also yesterday. So the Tigers are only a half game back of the Twins for that final wild card spot.
So it's a big game today.
And the Guardians, with a win today, will clinch a playoff spot. Their magic number for the division is what, 5, Mike?
To my knowledge,
Let me
yes.
figure it out. So the most games...
Anthony's saying 6.
It's 6. Yeah, so the Royals, the most games they can win is 91. So the Guardians need to get to 92. No, the magic number, 153, 91. No, the Guardians' magic number for clinching the division is 4. It's not 6. Where'd you hear 6?
I just trusted Anthony.
Yeah, no, I heard 6 like this morning somewhere.
It has to be 4, and I'll tell you why. Because think about it this way. If Kansas City wins every game the rest of the season, they will finish 91-71. They have the tiebreaker against the Guardians, so they can't finish tied. That means the Guardians need to win 92 games to clinch the division. They only need 4 wins to get to 92. So their magic number is 4. So that's it. Any combination of 4 wins by them, 4 losses by Kansas City, and the Guardians clinch the division. It's going to happen.
Did the Yankees clinch?
The Yankees clinched a playoff spot, not their division. The Milwaukee Brewers and their manager, Pat Murphy, is going to win Manager of the Year in the National League. They clinched the division. Did you guys see this? I thought this was funny. I was going to send Mike the picture, but so the Brewers' best player, or one of their best players, is a rookie.
The Jackson Chirino thing?
Jackson Chourio.
Chourio, yeah.
Yeah, he's a rookie. Was a top prospect. They actually, even before he played a major league game this year, they signed him to I don't know how many year contract, 10 years. Before he played 1 game in the majors.
Really?
He got off to a slow start this year, but they stuck with him, and he had a great second half, and he's been playing like an MVP the second half of the season. He's only 20 years old, so when they clinched the division yesterday,
He couldn't drink.
His teammates brought out a baby carriage with non-alcoholic beer in it for him to celebrate with. It was funny. And their broadcaster, Bob Euchre, who was a player, was 90 years old, came down. Anyway, it was a cool celebration for them. But the Guardians, I don't think, are going to celebrate clinching a playoff spot. They'll wait till they clinch the division. But it's just a matter of time. They are going to win the division and be able to set themselves up to get a bye. They're, I believe, what's the standings with Houston? They're 5 or 6 out of Houston right now.
Pull it up 1 second.
The Guardians, I'll be very surprised if they finish anywhere but the 2 seed. I don't think they'll catch the Yankees for the 1 seed. I think they'll finish 2, and that's huge. They get the bye to start the playoffs, and then whoever you play in the second round. Now, ultimately, it didn't matter last year because Arizona and Texas played in the World Series last year, and neither of those teams had a bye last year. But generally, I'd rather have that bye.
Didn't you prefer them to be the 2 seed than the 1 seed?
Because of who they were playing.
Well,
because you said they didn't have to beat the Yankees or and the Orioles or something?
Most likely, if they're the 2 seed, then the Orioles and Yankees will play each other in the second round. And so you don't have to beat both of those teams.
The Orioles blew my ticket yesterday.
Yeah, the Orioles have been struggling, so I'm not really as concerned about the Orioles right now because they seem like they're falling apart here at the end of the season. So there was an argument for that, but ultimately you do want to be the 1 because if you do play the Yankees, you don't want them to have home field advantage.
Yeah.
But I think what are the Yankees, a game and a half ahead of the Guardians?
The Yankees are 89-63 right now. The Guards are 88-65. So
so they're a game and a half up. The Yankees have the tiebreaker with the Guardians, so the Yankees will probably be the 1 seed. I would assume, unless they fall apart here in the last week. But that was a great win to pull that one out and score 3 in the bottom of the 10th.
We talked about it a little bit. They put Kwan yesterday on the show. They put Kwan on the DL.
Yeah.
He's not playing well.
Nope.
He's not seeing the ball well at the plate. He's swinging at a lot of bad pitches.
It's a shame. 291.
Tyvus put that jinx on him earlier.
I did.
Now, could they be putting him? Because I said, look, maybe they're sitting him down and saying, listen, we need to reset your swing. We need to have you look at guys and watch the game for a little bit. General fatigue was the reason they had him out. But, could it be a situation where they just got him with the hitting coaches like, look, hey, let's work on retooling your swing. And I know usually you don't retool somebody's swing into the offseason. That takes a lot of stuff. But I think he's a savant as a hitter. I do think he's a very quick study. And I do think that with guys like that, you can kind of reset their eye a little bit by just working in the cages and working and having them sit and watch some film and say, hey, look, when you was hitting the ball well, you was not swinging at this outside lower third pitch right here. You was not swinging at anything above the letters, right? This is what you were doing well. Do you think it'd be a possibility that he's not really that hurt or tired?
Yes.
They're just working on this game.
I think 100%. Now, I don't think it's changing his swing.
Yeah.
But the rest of what you said, I agree with. I think that's absolutely it. I think he could probably play through what he's playing through now. But I think the fact that he's slumping, the fact that they've basically clinched the division, I think they're absolutely doing that. I think a lot of this is mental for him. I think he needed a breather. Like, as long as he was on the roster, Stephen Vogt had given him a couple of days off, but it's hard to just keep giving a guy a day off when he's on the roster. Because you have this urge, get him back in there. Mm-hmm. Just take a breather. Get away from things for a week. You can't play. I bet absolutely he's working with their hitting coordinator in the system. They're talking about, maybe he's talking to, I don't know, psychologist, whatever. He is pressing big time at the plate. Mm-hmm. He's playing with a lot of stress right now. And he's talked about, and we brought this up with him when he was here, the fact that when he was in college, he had imposter syndrome. He didn't think he was really good, and so who knows? Like, who knows what he's dealing with? But you're right. I mean, he's swinging at things we've never seen him swing at. And the first half of this year was his best stretch of baseball since he's been in the majors. And now he's been in his worst stretch of baseball since he's been in the majors. It's been awful. Mm-hmm. And I think he needed a reset. And I think there's a good chance he'll come back and be much better.
Baseball is such a psychological sport. Even when I go back and look, you know what I'm saying? My mom was really she was like, hey, she was showing me these like old school, at the end of the year they give you banquets. So she found an old school list of just the roster and the rankings. and to this day, I still can't even believe I was even hitting like that. Sometimes, like in baseball, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing right or I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But all I know is when I'm at the plate, I feel like every pitch is in slow motion, and I feel like everything looks like a beach ball, and I feel like they can't fool me. And when you're swinging bad, it's the worst place in the world to be. It's worse. Like, I played all three sports in high school. It's worse than like getting beat on you didn't keep contained as a defensive end, or you get to the free throw line and you can't hit a free throw. It's worse in baseball because you feel like there is nothing in the world you can do. It's just like you can't even put the ball on the bat. It's just you bat on the ball.
Well, and you're thinking about it, and you get in your head, and once that happens,
it's done.
I mean, you have so little time to make that decision to swing or not that if you're in your head, you're screwed. And yes, baseball is such a game of failure. I talk to the Little League kids all the time. I'm like, the greatest hitters fail most of the time.
Not Tyvus.
Except for Tyvus, most of the great hitters fail most of the time. And so it's hard. You have to learn to deal with that failure. And sometimes when it's just, there was probably a point where he's hitting 390 and everybody was talking about him. Could he hit 400? That's the story.
Dang.
And ever since then, for a while he was probably like, I got to keep hitting because I got to hit 400.
Right.
And then you start doing things at the plate that are out of character.
That you've never done.
John Kinsey.
Right.
Swing at everything.
Yeah, wow.
Well, especially I was telling Dad. My dad, he used to be my baseball coach, and we would be playing in high school or in middle school. We'd be playing softball, and I go to get back to the game. He yell at me and be like, "What are you doing? I told you can't play softball." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You can't play softball." He said, "All right, listen, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's going to be." Man, we was playing softball for about a week or 2 weeks. In gym class, we going to play softball for.
Yeah.
Man, I was getting back to these games. I got back to the field, and I was like, these baseballs look like ping pong balls. These dudes is throwing BBs up here. Like, that ball looks like about this small. He's like, I told you, you'd have messed your eye all up. I'm like, yeah, it took me about a week, but yeah,
Dad knows.
He knows. Like, yo.
I seen something yesterday. What is it about the minor league of the Guardians, the Clippers, and the Akron team?
What about them?
Are they, what is it, playoffs, or did the Akron team win a championship?
The Lake County Captains won a championship.
Is that the one where Travis Bazana's on?
Yes.
So he's won a championship
Yes.
in the minors.
Yes.
Okay. And then
He wasn't there for most of the
and
year.
then the
but
Clippers is in the playoffs.
I don't even know.
It was another graphic I seen.
Maybe they are. I wasn't paying. I don't usually pay attention to like the minor league
I know,
standings,
but I get it.
But I did see that the captains won their championship. In the
The minor leagues are just, to me, it's crazy to me. Like
I didn't know they had their own championship.
All this stuff, like how you win a championship.
When I was in my first year doing games in the New York Penn League, we played Mahoning Valley. So I was doing games for the Phillies affiliate, and we played Mahoning Valley in the first round of playoffs. Mahoning Valley was the Indians affiliate, and I think it was the first game of the playoffs. It's so many years now, 25 years ago, I can't remember for sure. The pitcher against us was CC Sabathia.
That's crazy.
And you remember Coco Crisp?
Yep,
He was playing outfield. At the time, he was Covelli Crisp. He was playing outfield for them.
Hey, you stay in the minors forever?
I mean, some guys. There's been a couple of guys the last few years that got called up to the majors at 30, 31. They've been in the minors for 10 years, 12. Especially the kids. There's some kids that come from like Latin America that get signed at 16 years old.
And they never.
What's the pay in the minors?
Not much.
That's the second. That was the second.
It's better now, but it used to be terrible.
Like 60,000?
I don't even think that much. Maybe now.
What? Wow.
It depends on what level.
What?
It depends on what level.
The Clippers.
How long you been there?
Those guys are probably making 60 grand. Yeah.
Well, AAA's making more
than that. I don't know exactly how much.
That's ridiculous.
Go ahead, Mike.
Can't get you
We're going to get
nothing
back to
in Columbus.
football because we have our next guest ready to join us. Quick reminder that after the Browns-Giants game on Sunday, just like every other Sunday during the season, you can catch myself, Earl, and G. Bush on the Ultimate Browns post-game show. It starts at the 2-minute warning, live reaction to the final few plays of the game. Then we go for about 45 minutes afterwards with some instant reaction. Make sure you check it out on our YouTube page. And after that, then Bull goes live on his YouTube page, and you can find Bull's post-game reaction show there as well. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in Paul Schwartz. He covers the Giants for the New York Post to help us break down this Sunday's matchup between Cleveland and New York. Paul, how you doing today? Paul, hold on. We mind refreshing the link, Paul? We had audio a second ago, and we just lost it. Give us 1
We
second.
can't hear Paul. We can see him, but we can't hear him. It's funny, the Giants, when I was a kid, were such a staple of the NFL, right? In the 80s.
And we got him back, and we got audio, Paul.
And they were
Apologies
so
for
good.
that,
They were
but
so
we got
good for
Paul
a
here.
long time, the Giants, and now they've just been terrible for so long. Paul, you can hear us? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
We can
Gotcha.
hear you now, Paul. Thank you for joining us.
Very good.
You've obviously been covering the Giants, I want to say 30 years. Is that correct?
I want to say 31 years.
Okay, 31. Good. That's better than me.
Yeah.
As I said, the Giants were a team. I know way back in the day they were terrible, but for most of my lifetime, the Giants were really good, and they've been so bad for so long. When you look at the Giants, beyond this specific matchup, is there much hope with this organization right now?
I would say, and I know you probably would agree, I think hope starts with a coach and a quarterback.
That's
right?
true.
I mean, if you don't have those two components, it's hard to win. I think most Giants fans feel they do not have a quarterback in Daniel Jones. I was 2 years ago, I was a little more bullish on him than I am right now. I think the odds are very, very slim that Daniel Jones will be the quarterback in 2025. I mean, he has to do so much this year to earn that big contract. I mean, they can get out of this contract after this year for about $22 million in dead cap money. Now, that's not great, but it's not debilitating where, this year it would have been like $50 million. So, he's already behind the eight ball. He played awful in the first game against the Vikings. He played well last week in a close loss, which was just a ridiculous loss. I mean, the Giants were like a high school team. They didn't have a kicker. They didn't, down the stretch of a close game, they did not try an extra point or a field goal because all they had was their punter who missed an extra point earlier in the game because their kicker got hurt. So it was a ridiculous loss. So as far as hope, I would say 2 years ago it looked really good in the first year of Brian Daboll, then the GM Joe Shane, and right now it's a lot more cloudy than that.
Let's talk about Brian Dable. They made it to the playoffs. They get into the playoffs. You see, like, you got Saquon Barkley. You got a nice little core going, and then now, what's the temperature on Brian Dable? Is he a genius, or are you guys thinking about possibly rolling the dice on another coach here in a second?
You know what? I don't think either of those. I look after his first year, the first game he ever coached, right? They're down in Tennessee. His first game, the Giants are not favored to beat the Titans of Tennessee. Nobody thinks the Giants are any good. Brian Dable's the first, in his first game as a first-time head coach. They're down in the game. The Giants score. They go for two. Instead of going for the tie, they go for two. Really good play, two-point conversion. Saquon Barkley scores. They go up by 1 point. Titans come back down the field. They miss a 47-yard field goal at the buzzer. So right from there, people were thinking, we got something in this guy. We got a little mojo. He has balls, if you would say, certainly. I mean, I think our paper called him day balls at one point for going for that 2-point conversion. And they start 6-1, and it's like, holy smokes, they got something cooking here. And then, ever since then, now they did win a playoff game 2 years ago. But, that's almost like ancient history, right? Last year, their starting quarterback gets hurt. Their backup quarterback gets hurt. They have to go with Danny. They have to go with not Danny DeVito, but Tommy DeVito. People know Danny DeVito a lot more than Tommy DeVito. He happens, he wins a few games. They finish with 6 wins. So right now, nobody's looking at Brian Dable and calling him a genius, but I think it is premature to say he's on the hot seat, right? You guys know from being in Cleveland, right? When a coach is on the hot seat, right? You know when he's on the hot seat. I don't say it's a Game of Thrones for Brian Dable and he's sitting there ruling the Giants' kingdom, but
I like it.
I think the hot seat is too extreme right now.
Paul, last week Deshaun Watson played probably a better game than he did week 1. When you look at him versus this Giants defense, are you concerned about the defense, or you think that they'll do a good job of stopping Deshaun and his offense?
Well, that's a good question, and let's look at the last 2 games, right? Deshaun Watson and Stefanski studied the Giants' first 2 games, right? Mm-hmm. In the first game of the season, Sam Darnold, who is considered a failed starter, starts the game at Giant Stadium in front of 80,000 people. Don't forget, this is the Giants' 100th year anniversary. There was all the top 100 players who were still alive were in the building. It was a lot of juice for a home opener. Sam Darnold completes his first 12 passes. Okay, you can't let that happen, right? Last week in Washington against Jaden Daniels in his second NFL start. Now, Jaden Daniels probably will be a heck of a player, but it is the second NFL start. He completes his first 10 passes. Right? You can't let that happen. Let a rookie get in a comfort zone. So I would think Deshaun Watson is looking at this and licking his chops and saying they literally let 2 quarterbacks get completely into their comfort zone in rhythm at the start of these games. So until the Giants prove to me that they can knock Deshaun Watson or any offense off their game early, I'll believe it when I see it.
Paul, the Giants made a big investment in the defensive line, doubling down with the addition of Brian Burns to go along with Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau. Through the first 2 games, they haven't really made an impact. Were they closer than the stats look as someone who hasn't watched it as closely as you have? Are they right there just not getting those sacks and those pressures that are needed, or has this defensive line just been a disappointment through the first 2 weeks?
Well, their new defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, said last week, when you drop a lot of assets at one spot, those assets in those spots have to deliver, right? And Kayvon Thibodeau was the 5th pick in the draft a few years ago. Brian Burns they traded for, and they gave him a $141 million contract, right? Dexter Lawrence is getting, I think, $90 million. Now, Next Gen Stats says that Thibodeau and Burns are doing okay with their pass rush pressure. Okay, you can take that and you can analyze it every way you want. They don't have any sacks, not a lot of mayhem, not a lot of pressure. Thibodeau had a nice rush last week, and the linebacker got the pressure because Thibodeau up the middle, applied some pressure and pushed the pocket. Dexter Lawrence is a freak. Dexter Lawrence is a great player. If he's not the best interior defender in the league, he's second or third best. Whatever you want to argue, but he's just like Myles Garrett is pretty much a standard bearer out there on an edge. Dexter Lawrence is. I mean, he's 340 pounds. Look at the guy. He's incredibly agile. He pushes the pocket. I mean, he's if you don't have a plan for Dexter Lawrence, your guards and centers will be overwhelmed. But that's fine. But he needs help, and he also is called Sexy Dexy, and he's got that crazy sack dance, which might not be suitable for public viewing. You know what I mean? But he's he's a good guy, and he plays his butt off. But he said this week, I'm pissed. I'm tired of losing, and I'm pissed about this. And so I think they are pissed, and they are angry. But to answer the question about the edge rushers, more is needed, right? What does Spider-Man say? With great power comes great responsibility. With great draft assets and great money comes great responsibility. These guys need to create some havoc out there, and they have not done it so far.
Well, the great Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. What are the Giants going to do? Are they going to come in desperate in this game and do anything necessary to try to get a win? We've been trying to tell people here in Cleveland, hey, listen, the Malik Nabers guy, that guy is special. When you see him play, you've had an opportunity to see Odell play. It just reminds me of like how he came into the league with that, just being able to make plays. How has Malik Nabers been so far, and what are your thoughts on him, in this game?
The Giants thought he was the most explosive receiver in this draft. Explosive. I mean, not 100% the best, but, I think if they had a chance to draft Marvin Harrison Jr., they would have, but they thought Nabers was the most explosive. And nothing I have seen in the spring and the summer and the first two games is convincing me otherwise at all. I mean, he had 18 targets last week. When is the last time you saw a receiver get 18 targets, much less a 21-year-old in his second NFL game? Now, he had an incredibly costly drop with 2 minutes to go. Mm-hmm. Because the situation was so ridiculous. And on fourth down, they were in field goal range, tied at 18 in Washington. You just kick the field goal and then put your defense on the field. They didn't have a field goal kicker, so they had to go for it on 4th and 3. And Daniel Jones rolls out to the right side. Nabers beats his guy, keeps his feet in bounds, slides, has the ball in his hands, and drops it. So a terrific game ends with him dropping a ball, and he was ticked. He took that to heart. He said he was at his locker after the game, and he wasn't talking about his touchdown or his 10 catches. He said, guys like Dexter and Thibodeau and Burns, look at me and expect me to be a good player right away, and I let those veterans down. That's what you want to hear from a rookie, right? So I have there was some talk, and they asked him in their meetings at the Combine, because there was some thoughts that Nabers would not do well if things go badly, if he's not targeted early, if the offense is not running through him. There was some things in his background that he would not react well. And they asked him right away, you don't get the ball, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to go in the tank? You're going to blame people? You're going to blame the quarterback? You're going to point fingers? And they like those answers. And so far through 2 games, I don't see any of that. I see a guy who is an intense competitor. He wants the ball. I mean, he's going to be a very, very good player. I did cover, as you said, Odell as a rookie. Don't forget, Odell missed the first 4 games of his rookie year with a hamstring, and then he was completely lights out. And this guy can he had I think 91 catches, Odell or something, for like 1,300 yards. Mm-hmm. If they're going to target him 18 times a game, he's going to break those records.
Mm.
Paul, I was thinking about the Giants team. Obviously, it's water under the bridge now. But where were you on the decision of them not keeping Saquon and letting him go?
I don't want to be on the fence about it. I mean, look, I covered Saquon. You can't have a better guy than Saquon. You know what I mean? You can't have a better guy than him. I mean, he was great with us. You talk, sometimes they say, oh, the guy, he's a leader. He was a leader. Okay. He was a leader. I mean, the reason why the offense last year did not go in the tank when Tommy DeVito, an undrafted rookie from Syracuse, came onto the field is because Saquon talked Tommy DeVito up and said, he's our quarterback, we got to ride him, and always talked up Tommy DeVito hard. And that helped that gave Tommy DeVito some street cred in the locker room, and then he played okay, and that was a decent, wasn't a they finished 3-3 in Tommy DeVito's 6 starts, which is better than expected. So I thought, here's what I thought. Okay, if you want to go back to 2022 at the bye week, they offered him a really good contract, and I thought he should have taken it. He has since got rid of that agent group that didn't take that. I think it was $36 million for 3 years, 23 maybe million in guaranteed money. I thought he should have taken that. It's not my money; it's his money, and I thought it was a mistake for him not to. And I did not think he would be able to get that back subsequently. It turns out he did get it back from the Eagles. I think the Eagles might have been the one team in the league. Look, the Eagles are completely in win now mode, right? Their coach is going to have fired if they don't have a playoff run. So they just said, "The heck with it. We're just going to sign Saquon." They always like to push money down the road anyway, and that's an organization that needs to win now, and they have a good team, and maybe Saquon can be a difference maker. We saw what happened on Monday night with that drop, which is just I felt heartsick for Saquon. I mean, that's a catch he makes in his sleep. Joe Shane was adamant, at 27, I have the data. He said that quarterbacks start going this way. They start going down at 27. Now, Saquon looks pretty darn good at 27 right now. So at this point now, I thought the Giants were right to take a stand and not go overboard for Saquon, because if they go overboard for Saquon, they probably can't sign one of the offensive linemen they signed, and they probably can't sign Brian Burns. Now, people say, well, the cap you can always do everything with. I get that, but they didn't want to be in salary cap hell by doing all those things. But I don't think you make a team better. I mean, unless you sign, 3 other guys. The Giants tried to, but I was for signing Saquon up until this past season, and even this past season, after this offseason, I was not like, if they sign Saquon, it's a disaster. I mean, giving him $45 million would have been ridiculous, but up in the ante, another $2 million to take Saquon, I would have been fine with that, because now he has had injuries. We get that he has had injuries, but show me running backs that don't. Christian McCaffrey's the best running back in the league, right? Is he doing the 49ers any good right now? I mean, these guys get hurt.
Paul, what's your prediction for the game?
My prediction for the game, hopefully a smooth flight, hopefully a good meal. If you guys have my email, right? If you guys want to email some dining suggestions, I would appreciate them.
Well, what's your favorite kind of food, Paul? We'll talk it out right here. What do you like? What's your style?
Well, I love Italian food, but I'm coming from New York, so I'm not sure you can deliver the goods to me. I don't know. In Cleveland, I don't know if you can.
Let me tell you something, Paul. I've lived in Cleveland for 13 years. I am, of course, originally from New York as well. Spent most of my life in New York. I've been living in Cleveland 13 years. And no, we cannot match the Italian food. And if you're coming
honesty, I like honesty.
Yes, and if you're coming here for a weekend, I would never recommend Italian food. Now, I will say, if you moved here, I would give you a few pizzerias and Italian places that are good, but I would never recommend going to that kind of place here if you're just here for a weekend. What I would say is you definitely want to go to an American-style restaurant, burgers, steaks. We can send you a few suggestions if you want.
Send me a few suggestions.
And if you're an ice cream fan.
I mean, yes, of course. I mean, I try not to eat it every day, but yes, go ahead.
I try to eat it every day. My mother does not eat ice cream. My mother's a nut job. I love her, but she's a nut job. She doesn't eat ice cream. She doesn't eat pizza. She's the craziest person on the face of the earth. It's insane. But you got to try Mitchell's ice cream if you can. There is one close to downtown. I would highly recommend that because it's the best ice cream I've ever had in my life. Mitchell's ice cream. There's like 12 of them, but it's a local business. But we can send you a few good restaurants in the downtown area.
That's good. You email me email me the links and your credit card number. I appreciate it, and
you got it.
We'll call this even, right?
That's right.
So as far as the game, look. The Giants can win, you know what I mean? They're not going to play in Kansas City this week, you know what I mean? But until the Giants win, I'm not picking them. You know what I mean? I'm just not picking them. Look, they had a win last week. I mean, the Commanders aren't any good. I mean, put it this way: the Browns' defense in their sleep is better than the Commanders' defense.
Yes.
The Commanders' defense is not good, And the Giants didn't have a problem moving the ball. They had the ball for like 24 minutes. The Giants defense last week gave up 7 for 7 field goals. They never forced a punt in the game. Now, you can say there were 6 red zone attempts, so the Commanders were 0 for 6 in the red zone. That's a garbage stat in my mind. You can't give up 6 field goals and never get off the field and never put your offense back on the field. 38 minutes time of possession for the Commanders is not going to cut it. So if the Giants can't get off the field against a better team, there's going to be problems. So, I think there's a pathway for victory for the Giants. I think if they can get after Deshaun Watson, I know there are tackle issues there. I guess Jack Conklin is going to play, but, I think the Giants' defensive front can rough up the offensive line a little bit there. So if they can force some turnovers, which they have not done this year, I think there's a pathway for the Giants to win. But until I see it, I could see a close Giants loss. The spread is 6.5 or 7. At this point, I would probably take the Browns just because until I see it, I'm not betting it or I'm not picking it.
Don't blame you, Paul. Thanks, man. We appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
I will send you those
Thanks, guys. I enjoyed
Don't worry,
it.
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Send me those recommendations.
Yeah,
Good job.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was Paul Schwartz from the New York Post. He'll be in Cleveland. Make sure you check him out at the New York Post. You can find him on Twitter as well. Does a great job covering the Giants. And that's about as honest as we've ever gotten from an opposing team's beat reporter on the upcoming perspective.
Until they win.
I mean, he's from New York.
New York guys don't play that game. They don't. There's no homerism for most of those guys.
These guys don't be on that type of time. Ain't no
Until they win, I'm not picking them.
I hope, Dan. Like, there's no Danny Dimes hope nowhere, bro.
It was an adjustment. One of the biggest adjustments moving to Cleveland is that the beat reporters here, generally, there are some, aren't tough on the teams. And that was a big adjustment.
I mean, you can't. It's certain stuff you can't say. I lost a job because of it, so there you go.
You shouldn't have.
I still can't believe that, bro.
Can we say who's soft as Charmin?
Nope.
And Tyvus is the biggest, middle of the road dude in the world, bro. Like,
he's the least definition of Switzerland.
He's the least controversial person on this show.
I mean,
he says nothing. We love Tyvus. But he's right down the line. He is the fence.
Yeah.
I like to see it both ways.
Well,
I like to see both sides.
There are people that are so soft that you're not allowed to criticize them.
Can't believe that.
And that's what happened. And we won't say any more because I don't want to get into it.
That's right.
We got only one super chat.
One super chat.
So I'm going to read that, and then I got a Browns question for you guys. Then if you have any other Guardians Thoughts Bowl, we could chime in with anything else. But the one super chat comes from Christian Ortega, who says, and I'm going to read this. I don't understand it, but I'm going to read it. Watson thinks he's playing the Jets in nerves.
Watson thinks he's playing
the Jets in nerves.
Watson thinks he's playing the Jets in nerves?
In nerve, like nerve ending. In nerves.
I don't understand.
I told you, I don't get it either.
Does anybody understand what that means?
Listen,
maybe he think that. I don't know.
He's playing the Giants, and he doesn't think. I don't think he's nervous.
He got to take it. He got to type back in what he means.
Yo,
maybe it's like a riddle.
You
got to figure out.
You know what, Tyvus? This is crazy. I told the chat just a couple of seconds ago. I said, you know how I know my outfit is fire today? No super chats. There's no super chats clowning my fit. They're
just jealous when they clown you.
They have no I heard marshmallow and polar bear. That was it. Usually they got fire in there. That's how I know it is. Shout out to my man. By the way, people like to have. This is a black dude. It's not the Indian.
He got the waves on him.
Shout out to my man Richie Rich, man. You can check him out at Swagnito on Instagram.
I got to go.
Richie Rich.
I got to go cop me a hat.
Yeah, listen.
Wait, let me look at what is that?
He sent it to me. He said I got to get Tyvus and Earl one. So shout out
it's on IG.
You can wear one.
White guys can't wear it.
You got to wear it around us.
Like I can't.
You got to wear it around us.
His name on IG is Swagnito.
I feel like I can't wear it.
You can wear it around us because we would be like, hey, listen, no, he can get that off. That's my friend.
Yeah.
He has black friends. Stop playing with us. And by the way, Jay says I got to name the outfits. This is the baking soda bully outfit right here.
Soda bully.
Baking soda bully. You know what I'm saying?
By the way,
It ain't coming up, G.
Here's proof that G is a confident man because most guys are too soft and lack confidence that they would wear a pink watch band.
Woo! Hey, Dustin.
That's a real man.
Dustin,
right there.
you don't got those. You don't have those, Dustin. D Fox 37.
What doesn't he have?
Hey, G, by the way, just so you know, for
the
future
shoes.
reference, I love the fit. In person, it's 10 times better than it looks on camera because all white on camera does not show up all white on camera.
It's bright. It
You look, not you. The fit looks greenish. Has a green.
Really?
Really? These cameras are good. They're not that good, and all white distorts everything via the camera lens.
Really?
I'm trying to find this man's
A
IG
hint
page.
of green.
All right, well, Tyvus does that. What do you got for us there, Mikey?
So I was curious for you
Yeah.
guys. So we look ahead to this Giants game. There's no David Bell.
How will we survive without David Bell?
No. I'm getting to a question.
He started.
David
That
Bell.
was a terrible start.
There's
That
no
was a
David
terrible
Bell.
start.
There's no Jarvis Landry.
That's a fact. Odell Beckham Jr. will not be on this field. My question is this the finally going to see the debut of Jamari Thrash, G?
Probably not. Like for the Cleveland Browns, like the Browns move at slow speed. They're not knee-jerk reaction dudes. They be like, well, we have Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman has to dislocate something for other people to get involved. Like Kadarius Toney's gonna be on the practice squad for 8 weeks.
So who do you think they probably will have one more active receiver, no?
Has Thrash not been active?
I
haven't seen him.
I don't think he's gotten a snap this season.
I can't remember if he's
Maybe
been
not a snap, but is he? I don't think
Has
he's
he been active on
active.
game day?
If he hasn't had a snap, would I be able to find out if he's active on game day?
I mean, go back. You'd have to go back and look at the inactive list. I can't remember now if he's been active or not because he hasn't played.
Here's why.
I think he'll be active,
Jamari Thrash was inactive last week.
Okay,
and
which
now
means
I'm
he
looking
probably
for
was week one.
Looking for game one.
Well, he gonna be active this
maybe.
week.
Hold on. So
He was active for game one.
Okay, but he didn't take any snaps.
Did not take a snap. Was active for game
So
one.
Tyvus, this be happening. Is there a situation where, I feel like the reason why David Bell made the squad, and I was telling people this is because David Bell is the type of dude that know the X, Y, and the Z. He one of them dudes that be in his playbook and they be like, oh, he don't even have to get reps over there, but he be knowing it. And so David Bell sticks around. Maybe Jamari Thrash only knows one position, and if it's the same position that Elijah Moore is playing, he's not gonna play.
But I don't think they're going to have four if Thrash is not active, they only have four active receivers, right?
They have Darden or Prochet as their returner technically.
Oh, yeah, okay. So if they had to, they could use one of those guys. But I would think he'd be active this week. I don't know if he's going to play.
Special teams. Did David Bell play special teams?
Hey, what's John Fanta said something?
Yeah, what'd John say?
John Fanta said something that went under the cover because he said so many things.
Yeah.
One of them.
A lot of people off.
Yeah, right.
What'd he say?
I love John. He cracks me up.
John sent me a text saying, "Look at all the responses to my appearance on your show yesterday."
Oh, he went crazy.
What did he say?
He said he still wants to be done with Deshaun Watson.
Oh, okay.
So what's the name? No, he did say this. He said Stefanski took over his playbook again. He said basically he just went to Ken Dorsey and was like, nah, we're not running that no more.
Yeah.
Then we started seeing Nick Harris in 3 tight end sets again, play action game. Do you believe that he was like, no, this we're not running that? I saw what it looked like.
No, I believe he looked and said the pass and attack around the league isn't working, so we need to get more good. We need to get better in the run game. So let's go back to my stuff because I know what.
So the answer is yes.
Yes. So he didn't specifically use. We didn't.
We're not about to say
everybody.
So Ken Dorsey's run game in Buffalo was good. No,
Not really.
When anytime you see run, that's Kevin.
Their run game was Josh Allen.
If we're talking Stefanski and Dorsey real quick, I want to take y'all behind the scenes on something that happened when I was recording the film breakdowns of Sean King. Sean, who's been incredible, maybe the best first 2 appearances we've had from a guest in UCSS history, was under the impression that Ken Dorsey was calling the plays.
Right.
Legitimately was under the impression. He
I
said
remember
it on
that
the
because
show
he said it on the
first
air.
time, and even yesterday said it. And yesterday we're breaking down the play, the 3rd down play call, late in the game where they rolled out left. And it's the only time he was like, hey, can we start this one over? And I said, sure. During that, he said, listen, Ken Dorsey called the play. It was a dumb play call. Kevin Stefanski stupid for not vetoing the play call. Deshaun Watson was silly for not just faking the sack. Miscommunication all around. And I'm like, hey, Sean, just so you know, it's actually Stefanski calling the plays, not Dorsey.
Yeah.
We retape, and he goes, Ken Dorsey should be calling the plays. So he can veto the stupid-ass play call from Kevin Stefanski. It was very funny.
Thank you for vindicating me, Sean. The Duke of Knee Jerk, I told him. The Duke of Knee Jerk told him that was a dumb play.
He did say that clip's up. I posted that clip.
But that Deshaun's got to take a knee.
Yes, he should have backflipped.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, I see the clock. He said Deshaun either has to just fall down, just take the sack.
Right.
He didn't like the play call. He pointed out that James Hudson may have missed a block, but he goes, no matter how you look at it, he goes, I hated the play call because he rolled him left. And even if there was better blocking, on the run throwing across your body like that is such a difficult throw to make that if you just flip the play and it's going to Deshaun's strong shoulder, it goes from a bad play call to an I can understand that play call. He goes rolling left, that situation, down, distance, time, score, I hated it. And when I say I mean Sean King.
Yeah. Coming up in overtime,
Whatever you want.
I have breaking news about my career as a youth baseball coach. Okay. Breaking news. That's coming up, but you got to be a member in overtime. That's coming up next. We'll see you then or tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace!